Hey, menopause keeps going, right? Oh dear. So I was sharing some information in our FITFlexer community this week, Sal, about being a post-menopause woman or a woman beyond menopause. And one of our 60 plus ladies actually said those words, menopause keeps going, right? And it got me to thinking about being beyond menopause and what our perception might be. And so I thought we might start today by talking about what menopause is. It's a pretty significant event that happens in a woman's life. And it can be portrayed as pretty daunting milestone, menopause itself. So not the actual transition, okay? So menopause itself. And I think there's a bit of a misconception about it because we think that it's a downhill journey. But if we actually think about it, menopause can be the end of one chapter, once we're through it, and the beginning of another chapter. So menopause is that natural biological process that happens when our menstrual cycles stop for 12 months consecutively. And I've got to be honest, Sal, I don't know the actual day that menopause actually struck. So, it was just like all of a sudden, oh no, I haven't had a period for a really, really long time. So I'm through it. And so it typically happens, in our late 40s to our early 50s. And it signals the end of, being able to have kids, basically our reproductive years. And so then what follows after that is this post-menopause stage. And here's the other thing, Sal. I was listening to something the other day. There's early onset menopause. There's late onset menopause. There's pre-menopause. Then there's perimenopause. Then there's menopause. And then there's post-menopause. It was like, you're kidding me. It's just like, we've got all these various stages now, and it happens to be a topic that was never talked about, and now it's always talked about. And do you think we're making it more complicated than it actually has to be?
I think so. Peri, we're over here, we're over there. I think it should just be, let's just stick to perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause.
Yeah.
Stick to the three.
Yeah, that's right.
Because, yeah.
I think
as human beings, we overcomplicate stuff too much.
We do. And the other aspect of it, Sal, is that we're all different. We're all unique. And when something starts or finishes for us is going to be dependent on us and what's going on in our bodies. And our bodies is exclusive to us. So,
and I think too, you've got to remember,
yep.
Most of us, if we go to the doctor because we think we're going through menopause, 9 out of 10 women that I speak to, I know they just dismissed it.
Yeah.
And they've got to actually push to get, even tested for it. So how can you have all these other little things that are starting, at the age of 35? I know they exist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional, anything like that. But as I said, I think we overcomplicate too much. And if we're putting all these things in, a lot of women are even struggling just to get diagnosed with it.
Oh, totally. Or to actually have some type of diagnosis that you're through it, that you're finished.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think it's really up to us as women to take control over our bodies and, just the impact that the physical and the emotional changes that happen during menopause take on us. We can have things like hot flashes, there's vaginal changes, there's urinary tract changes, there's mood swings that can occur. Our hair can be different, our skin can be different, you know, and we're more susceptible for heart health issues as well too. And so, you know, there's just so many things that can go on with us. And I know for you, like, what's like the top two things that you're experiencing, because you are going through menopause right now?
Yeah. Rage.
The mood swings, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And not being able to sleep. Now, am I raging because I'm tired? Or am I tired because I'm raging? No, but they are the two things that it's like, you know, and it's the littlest things, you know. I mightn't be able to get my key in the front door. You know, next minute I've kicked the front door in because I'm so angry I couldn't get my key in there. And sleep is terrible, terrible sleep. I'm not getting sleep, and if I do get sleep, it's, you know, little spits and spats here of 20 minutes and 20 minutes,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it's terrible. Yeah.
Until I think, Sal, all of a sudden it'll all catch up, and then you'll have one decent night's sleep and you think, oh my goodness, that was so good.
I'll sleep for a week
Yeah.
and I'll wake up happy.
I think I know for me, the most significant thing was the insomnia as well too. You know, I'd wake up. I'd wake up. And what Paul felt so sorry for me. He went and bought some herbal supplements from some Chinese medicine person. And he said, oh, I just feel so sorry for you. I thought these might help. I took them. They did help. So, you know, that
Because nothing else is changing. You're
no,
not getting the sleep, but when you're in your awake hours, you're still doing everything that you were used to do. You know, you still might have to work full time. You still have to look after a family. You know, for me, you still have to drive kids around.
yeah.
Yes, so nothing is changing in those awake hours, but you're just not getting the sleep. That's where
And
the
you know,
rage.
yeah, and then the other aspect of it is that you're dealing with it and you are going to work, and you know, then all of a sudden people are around you at work are seeing a difference in you as well too. And so, you know, you're copying it from that angle as well too. You know, it's like, has she turned into a psychopath or what? And we're laughing about it, but I mean, that's, you know, it doesn't have to be as tough as it can be. We can find other ways to, you know, help us sleep a little bit better, or to help us deal with those hot flushes, or whatever it is, whatever symptoms we are going through, that we are experiencing as well too. But I think one of the things that's really important is to know that we do go through it. And when we haven't had a period for 12 months, we're into that next stage. Now, some of those symptoms may improve, some may totally subside, or others may persist. I know you didn't want to hear that though, Sel.
I'll be 93 still raging.
But I know for myself, like, I don't have anything unless, of course, and here's what I've identified for me: if I've like not had enough sleep just simply because you know, I'm thinking about things, it's not because of the hormones or anything else like that. I make bad decisions in regards to eating. I may not feel like exercising, and that in turn has an impact then on how I sleep as well too. So, you know, for me personally, if I can identify what it is that's caused the issue, for example, being stressed about something, and then I deal with that stress, then I'm able to not experience, you know, some of those symptoms that may still persist when we go through postmenopause. I think it's quite a liberating time, to be honest, to not have to have a period. I think it's great.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It is. It is. So here's what happens, you know, like our estrogen is the most significant thing that starts to decline. And when we're post-menopause, it stays at those lower levels at that point. But the other things that can impact us, age-related factors, lifestyle choices, which I've alluded to, genetics, and all of those things can influence, how persistent things are when we're post-menopause or beyond menopause.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing, here's our message, ladies. I think this is the most important message that we're going to give you today. Strength training is going to help hormone levels.
Yes.
Every woman, post-menopause, every woman going through menopause, and every woman coming up to menopause should be strength training.
Yeah.
Because the first thing is that strength training stimulates the release of growth hormone, which is essential for maintaining lean body mass, bone density, and metabolic health. Okay, so that means that, it has a positive impact on our muscle mass, our fat metabolism, and our overall energy levels that we have.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to jump in with there?
No, you've covered everything there.
Okay, so then the next thing is that it enhances our insulin sensitivity, which tends to decrease as we're aging and we're going through those hormonal changes, which can lead to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. When we strength train, it means it improves our insulin sensitivity. So I think that's a really important aspect of strength training, because if we've got that insulin sensitivity, it means that we're putting ourselves at higher risk of those metabolic disorders, and all those, preventable type health diseases. So yeah. I think that's a really significant one. So I'm only going to talk about a couple of things. I also want to talk about testosterone, and we generally think of that as being a bloke thing. But testosterone, we have testosterone too, and it does decline as we age, and particularly with menopause. So, and that's going to again decrease muscle mass and bone density. And so by strength training, we're going to improve that muscle strength that we've got, our bone health. So what's not to love about strength training?
Yeah, exactly. And it's also going to help with your rage.
Absolutely.
It's going to help with that happy hormone, because any type of exercise, and while you're and if you are going to strength train, it may as well be strength training, is going to release your endorphins and you're going to be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing about it is that it regulates your stress hormone, which is what you're talking about there. Yeah, so that cortisol level, that starts to be impacted, and that can cause weight gain, sleep disturbances, mood disorders. So the more that we're strength training and we're regulating those stress hormones in our body, the better off we're going to be.
And where do we complain about that extra weight gain going? Our belly.
Yeah, absolutely. Our belly. Yeah, totally. So by strength training, we're going to build our bone density, which reduces our risk of falls and fractures and the likes. We offset the estrogen loss. We're going to support our heart health. We're going to boost our metabolism. And by strength training, and here's the one that I think that's always missed, is that it's about functional fitness. Because when you're strength training, it's about the things that you do in everyday life. So the movements that you do. And strength training doesn't just have to be you know, going and using strength-based machines at the gym. It can be lifting weights in some way. It could be body weight. So there's lots of different ways to strength train.
Yep, resistance bands.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
Is there anything that you want to add that you think I've like missed?
No, you've covered everything there. Definitely.
Yeah. Look, I honestly think that when we're going through menopause, we just think, is it ever going to end? It does end. And, you know, how we go into that transition and come out of that transition, we can play a big part of that by the lifestyle that we have, how we train, how we eat, how we sleep, and what we do. And there are a lot of things that we can do from a natural perspective that are going to help us transition through it quite a lot better than rather than going into it, you know, experiencing bad things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I love being a post-menopause woman.
I'll let you know in a couple of years.
Well, it shouldn't be that much longer, really, should it?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? It just depends. Are you marking off the calendar every time you have a period? That's really the telltale sign, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes.
It is. But I really think that, you know, understanding that when we're in our 60s, particularly, our metabolic function does change. You know, we tend to think that it doesn't, you know, that it's all that you know, my metabolism is slow. We often hear this, you know, as we're coming up through our years and everything. But it doesn't really change from childhood until we hit those 60s, and that's when it does start to decline, and it is part of aging. So it can have an impact on, you know, those postmenopausal stages as well too. So just doing what we can do from a lifestyle perspective is certainly going to help us as we get into, you know, those other stages of life that we're moving into.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining me, Sal.
Thank you for having me as always.
Thank you for joining sharing your rage with us today too.
My meno rage.
Your meno rage. Thanks for joining us, ladies. I hope you got something out of this. And if you want to come join us in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy, you can do that as well too. So thanks, everybody. See you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.